The Pelicans trade for Josh Richardson, joined by Chaz, Ross. Hopefully, we get Schmidt on and everyone else. We're going to talk about who Josh Richardson is, and we're going to give grades out of a lot of rumors today. A lot of trades were done. The Lakers got better. The Mavericks got better. The Clippers got better. I still think the Pelicans got better, but they didn't make that splash move. We're going to talk about it right now. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go.
First took away. That's the best. Get your money's worth out.
All right, as I said before, Chaz and Ross joining the show. This podcast is sponsored by the Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Crew Media, located 918 Poydras Street. By the Superdome, give them a call at 504-523-5413 if you or someone you know has been involved in an accident. The Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Crew Media. All right, let's get into it. Josh Richardson, Ross, start with you, then Chaz. What do you like about his game? I think it's definitely an upgrade over Devonte Graham. Devonte Graham and 4 second-rounders going to San Antonio. We talked about OG. We talked about Bojan. We talked about a lot of different guys. Never talked about Josh Richardson. So Ross and then Chaz, what are the Pelicans getting with Josh Richardson?
I mean, just getting a serviceable veteran. Can guard a couple different positions. Has always been a pretty good defender. Can do a little bit of everything on offense. I mean, this is not I don't know how much the needle moves. Adding Josh Richardson, I don't. I'm just totally indifferent. But overall, he's a perfectly adequate veteran. Type of guy that's useful on soaking up 15, 16 minutes a night for a team that thinks they can make the playoffs. So I mean, I'm just.
Just Matt, 5 joining the show. Chaz, go ahead with Josh, then 5. We'll get your thoughts on Josh.
I think Josh is a really competent player. Really like him from behind the arc. Play some defense. Veteran guy. He is an upgrade over Devonte. In fact, I would say Josh Richardson. I don't know if you consider him a guard or a forward, but I think you should really give a strong look at Josh Richardson as your starting 3 moving forward. I think we'll get deeper into it, but I'll say I feel like the front office made the right move.
Okay, 5. Richardson's a veteran guy. He's been in some playoff games. He's a smart basketball player. He can play in the pick and roll. You don't seem very thrilled as I'm explaining this to you. He can shoot the basketball a little bit. Do you like it? You're indifferent? What are your thoughts?
Did the Pelicans get better today?
Overall,
is this going to get you a championship that you told me you were going to win? Like, not say you're going to win this specific championship, but does this put you in a better position to win said championship when other teams have made really good moves to become better? The Lakers pick that you were savoring got worse today. Like, it was devalued less today. What did you do to counteract that move? Nothing. So, no. I'm not thrilled by this at all. I'm not comforted by this at all.
I mean, I completely agree with you. I think, Ross, it seems as if the Raptors, as you said earlier today, when they traded for Jakob, how do you pronounce his last name?
Jakob
Portal. You said that they weren't going to be. This is not a move to make them sellers, right? So I'm thinking, Kevin Durant obviously goes to the Suns there late last night. And it seems as if the price got higher and higher for OG, and I guess they weren't willing to overpay for him.
Yeah, and that was the fear, right? I mean, when they made that deal early, I felt like that was going to increase the price. Look, I mean, in my opinion, that's a good Raptors team, like potentially a really good Raptors team. I mean, there's no way they don't make the playoffs in the East. And there's not a lot of teams like I don't want to run into them in the first round if I'm the Cavs or somebody like that. Like, that's a tough ass team. I think their team, they got better today. Like, they've been needing a center. This is why, in my opinion, if you're going to make a big move, right? Suns did theirs last night, Kyrie a couple days ago. Like, you just don't wait for that. And I question how invested the Pelicans ever were into making a big move. I mean, it just seems to me like they had certain things that they were willing to move at this All-Star break. and the things that were not on that list were untouchable. And if they could get whatever they wanted to get for those certain things, hey, that's great. If they couldn't, they were just putting the phone down. And like that, everybody else got better today. We did.
Five. I mean,
that's my opinion on it.
Five. Let you go then, Chaz. Go ahead, because I know you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, man. Think about this. I mean, Josh Richardson is only shooting 5 threes a game. It's not like, and he's shooting 36%. So does that? I mean, Devonte can make 2 threes a game, maybe, right? Like I don't see the point in this. Like it didn't. If chemistry was like your main thing, why mess it up, right? Why? Because apparently that was a big thing for you. This
Five, you know exactly why this deal was done.
Because tell me, Ross. Tell me why this deal was done. Tell me.
You saved your billionaire owner a couple $1 million. That's what.
Well, then, cool. If that's the case, but I don't know, man. I don't know what the plan is. You might as well have just kept them. I mean, what's a couple? You gave away. The thing is, you gave away 4 second-round picks. That could have saved your billionaire some money.
We gave up a first rounder for Devonte Graham, correct? And then also we gave up a total of 5 picks for Devonte Graham.
And lost Devonte Graham.
Chaz.
I personally, this is why I'm not mad at the move. Because I felt like, and I just gotta keep it real. I feel like people who were reporting Griff's interest in Kevin Durant were being disingenuous this entire time. If you couldn't decipher that Griff was lying to you, I think you're an idiot. Because Kevin Durant knew he wasn't. Everyone knew Kevin Durant was going to Phoenix. This was like the writing was. Everyone knew it. So the fact that I think Griff put that out there to some people just to kind of comfort people to be like, oh, we tried to get Kevin Durant. It's like, you weren't getting Kevin Durant, bro. Just like Chris Paul wasn't signing here. You couldn't sign Tim Hardaway and Malik Monk. You think Chris Paul and Kyle Lowry were really considering signing here? No one wants to come to New Orleans. No one's coming here in the buyout market. Only people probably coming here are like guys who, are about to get kicked out the league. You might get like John Wall or somebody like that, right? But as far as this move in particular, once you knew Kevin Durant was going to the Suns, what's the point of making a big move? It was pointless. Then Zion's hurt. We know the extension of Zion's injury. You know what I'm saying? We know what's up. Zion's hurt. Brandon's unreliable. CJ's not that guy. So if you're Griff, do you invest in getting some guys, maybe John Collins, $25 million, OG 18 or whatever? However much money you get, because you can't get OG alone. You got to get OG and a shooter or a rim defender. If you bring in all that salary on this team and become a tax team, knowing you have no chance of winning unless Kevin Durant gets hurt, unless I thought the Lakers were better than the Pelicans day before yesterday, right? And so even before they made any trades. So
yeah, let's get let's get Schmidt in here. Schmidt, what happened there at the deadline? Did you hear it with the Pelicans? In on anybody?
I just checked in. They had something out on OG. Obviously, Toronto didn't like whatever they had on it. They didn't like whatever Golden State had on him. They didn't like whatever Memphis had on him, which I don't know if you can qualify that as a win. You know, your division rival didn't get him, I guess, whatever. But ultimately, the Pelicans had the capacity to go above and beyond if they really wanted that player. And I think, from my understanding, a lot of their moves are colored by taking on salary, and they have to balance the act between spending assets and inflating their salary bill. And I'm going to be very honest with you. We don't have a very willing ownership that's willing to spend, not like a lot of the other ownerships that we're seeing here in the West. And that colors some of their moves, that limit some of their pathways. And ultimately what the Pelicans did was they paid 4 second-round picks to dump Devonte Graham's contract for an expiring. I understand Josh Richardson is a decent player. I got no ill will towards that guy. I'm sure he's going to make some important plays for the Pelicans, but realistically, he's going to be on the team for 2 months. He's probably going to eat into some of the young players' minutes moving forward. This was entirely designed to get off of Devonte Graham's salary. That is the primary purpose. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. They are worried about the tax bill next season because of Zion Williamson's extension kicking in. Now, they can still go into this summer with Jonas. They can guarantee that last year of Temple's deal if they need salary to match with trades. They can even use Jackson Hayes in a sign and trade if they wanted to, right? That they have avenues to add good players that have a considerable amount of salary. I do think they're going to spin the tires on Mikal Bridges. As long as he is in Brooklyn, they're probably going to call on a regular basis to see if they can go get that guy. But for this season and this season only, it seems like an implicit understanding we are not ready to compete at the highest levels. At least like an acknowledgement of that. We're not ready. We're not going to spend the resources. The West is gearing up in a way that we are not prepared for. Let's just play the season out, see what we have. Maybe we get healthy. Maybe we go on a run, regroup in the summer. But I would like to see what they have in store for the summer. I think it's important. You can't just make salary cutting moves without good reason. Otherwise, you're just not going to be a serious franchise.
Chaz, go ahead. Or Chaz and Ross.
Oh, Shimmy, I want to ask you, right? Because I personally agree with the philosophy that, you're banged up. You got 2 injury-prone guys. Kevin Durant's coming to the West, changes everything. I personally thought the Lakers were a better team before getting Vanderbilt and revamping their roster personally, right? In my opinion, it's not wise to go into the tax right now anyway. Like, because you're, next year you're a repeater tax guy. I was a little disappointed that we couldn't repackage Devonte Graham this offseason. But overall, I think realistically, unless you were counting on you being 100% healthy and the Suns or one of those upper echelon West teams getting hurt, having like a devastating injury, I don't really think it was worth going into the tax this year. I think it was kind of worth standing pat. Would you disagree with that?
No, I mean, that's certainly the decision they made. So they definitely agree with you there. And I think, in my opinion, they could have made some moves that would not have put them in the tax this year. But it would have put them in the tax next year, barring, them having to dump Jonas or Larry in the offseason or whatever. I think, going back to OG, they had the ability to acquire OG without going into the tax this year. Same thing with John Collins. They could have made that move. Ultimately, the price may have been too rich for them, given that none of those players moved. And I can't fault them necessarily for not giving up the whole, caboodle for these guys. Like, I get it. Maybe you don't love them that much. OG's, due for a new deal. Initially, I heard the price on OG was absolutely insane because they were asking for 2 of Trey, Dyson, Herb, plus picks. So they were asking for 2 of those. And that's not a price I'm willing to meet. Tax or no tax, that's not a price I'm willing to meet. Not for OG, not for, what his contract status is. But, it seemed like the price went down on him. And Toronto had a lot of offers where it was 1 good player and 2 picks. That seemed to be what the baseline was, but I guess they didn't like any of those offers. They want to see what was going to happen in the summer. But you're right. I see no reason for them to go into the tax this year. Could they have made moves that set them up for next year? Maybe. I think it's a little disappointing, but to me, the biggest thing it's just like, yeah, they're admitting that they aren't ready. They're going to try to prepare for next season. And to get in the repeater, they have to get in there for 3 out of 4 seasons. So if they get into the tax next season, they can go back the following season as long as they dip out the season after that. So I think the way they are trying to time it, they would like to avoid being in the tax next season. If they have to dip their toes in it, sure, but they would like to avoid it, get into the tax the following year. That's when you're looking at like a Trey Murphy extension. You're looking at Herb Jones is probably going to, if they're all still on the team by that point, right? Those guys are going to be getting into the second deals. And then the cap jump's going to happen. That'll take you back out of the tax. So I think that's kind of how they're game planning it. But, these deals are like a multi-year process. And, step number 1 for them was getting out of Devontae's salary. They clearly felt that this summer they would probably be under more of a barrel to get out from that. And so 4 seconds is not, in a vacuum, this is just not an unreasonable thing that occurred. You're getting rid of the 2 small guard lineups. You're bringing in a defensive vet, a guy who is he's a rotation player. But it's just when you zoom out the totality of like kind of the decisions, They had to give up a first round pick for Devonte. They had to give up 4 seconds to get off of him. Those kind of like L's on the margin add up, and they impact your ability to make meaningful change when you are in the tax, and you do need to like reshape the roster on the fly.
Jarrett, do you think now after today, do you think this team's even a top 6 team in the West now? Looking at it with Memphis getting Kennard, Clippers got better, Mavericks clearly got better, Lakers clearly got better. You still have the Nuggets who are a juggernaut. The Kings are playing good ball right now. I know we just blasted them, but still, do you think they're even Golden State Warriors are better? Do you think they're still in the top 6? Oh, you're muted there, Jarrett.
My bad. I was doing work, but yeah, could be right. Depending on health, right? I think that's
always the question, though, man.
It's always the question, right?
I get frustrated with that because it's always. I'm sorry to cut you off and let you elaborate here for a second, but it's always injuries with this team. Well, they're always injured. Like that's the problem. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to do. I mean, Justin, you seem very, very. Let's just say upset about this. I mean,
I think I'm the same as you.
It's a somber day, I guess. You know, in New Orleans, it's very, it's not really a cloud in the sky, but there's a large overcast, and it seems like the morale is just down. It has. I mean, if chemistry was a big thing for this team, it definitely went down today. I don't know. Griff does kind of feel like he wants to make the best of like less situations. Like he's that kind of person. Like give me less and I'll make more of it. But what's the point of having a war chest of picks and assets if you're not going to go to war? It's like North Korea. You saw them like parading around large missiles the other day. You don't think they're ready for war? You don't think they want like, I don't know if we're ready for war. I don't think we want that. I don't think we want to go for it. Chaz, I know. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I'll say this because I was saying this all last night after the Kevin Durant trade. I said, yo, when you see a tank coming, you don't go grab your bow and arrow.
No.
like they traded for Kevin Durant. So would you go like? You go like, oh, I'm about to go get
Josh Richardson.
We about to go get Gary Trent Jr. It's going down. It's like, yeah, you look at Josh Richardson. It's like, nah. I think even with the asset, right, for it to swap. Personally, if the Pelicans, with help being uncertainty, you still own the rights to your own pick. If things go left, your pick could be valuable this offseason, your own pick. You know what I'm saying? I just think ultimately looking at the big pick, like when you zoom out, it makes a lot of sense, right? Just because I think the best time for the Pelicans to had made a decision would have been prior to the Rudy Gobert trade. After that, I think all bets were like you were kind of just counting on health and things have changed. Of course, we anticipated injury, but you can never really anticipate. You don't go into the seasons, pessimistic. Like you don't think that someone's going to get hurt and be out all these games. But I think this offseason, you got Dame, you got Cat. You potentially got Bam. You got Pascal Siakam.
We're always talking about the offseason.
Who's your ownership? Who's paying for this?
No, I say that just because I think personally a big salary guy is getting up out of here. But that's just me.
Schmidt, we'll let Schmigel then Jarrett. I still can't believe that Jackson Hayes and Billy Hernan-Gomez are still on the roster. I can't believe Jackson Hayes.
They can believe it? We talk about culture. We talk about the locker room.
This is insane to me.
Those guys were already upset the whole season with their roles and their minutes and their play time. Like that. We knew in the offseason that Jackson and his agent, like they view him as a 4, and they view that Zion coming in those minutes are going to disappear. It's not a good fit for him. Billy Hernan-Gomez has been a champ through all of this and has gotten no play time unless, he's playing against all-star big men, and which he just happens to toast somehow. It's this Jokic, Embiid, Sabonis. Throw Billy Hernan-Gomez at him. But, these guys, they've been, I guess, even Jackson's been professional. Like, he hasn't, created a stink, right? He's kind of done his thing. But now they're here for 2 more months at the minimum. At the minimum there for 2 more months.
And Billy's not he's not expiring, right? He's signed for next year. Yeah, so it's gonna be funny.
Did you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I mean, back to Chaz's original point. I mean, there's no way this team. I get it when you you zoom out, but you're in it. You're like in the hunt, right? It's hard for me to just let me pull back and watch this play out when you have the opportunity in front of you to get better. Everybody else that was considerably in lower standing than you got better. The Lakers, Rob Pelinka is brilliant. He turned into an actual GM today, and kind of righted all his wrongs. I guess righted is the word. Righted his wrongs in a sense where he put the correct talent around LeBron, gave him space, gave him defenders. The thing that LeBron's been really successful with. He got Russell Westbrook out of the locker room, and that was what, 40 million, right?
45.
And 45 million, and we couldn't get Billy and Hernan Gomez and Jackson Hayes out the door because they got Tom. He flipped Thomas Bryant
for 3 second rounders. Is that correct? I mean, he got Russell Westbrook and
Mo Bamba, for Patrick Beverly,
straight up.
Which like the Pels had the expirings. It was expirings. The Pels had the expirings. It's Deacon Temple and Jackson Hayes, and you can send your same number of seconds or how many seconds.
Temple's
you send
untouchable according to everybody. I mean, according to our front office, I feel like Garrett Temple's untouchable at this point. I mean, seriously, he is untouchable at this point.
Who is touchable? Pause. Like who's
only Devonte Graham was apparently.
I can't believe Jackson Hayes is still on the roster. I mean, this is pure insanity to me. Like Billy Hernan Gomez has a right to be, but you couldn't get off Jackson Hayes or Billy Hernan Gomez today. You couldn't do it. Chaz, in the Five's point, I've been holding this all day. I've been frustrated all day. To Five's point, the Lakers got better. So that pick, right? This great asset we have is literally getting worse by the day.
You're talking about the swap,
and
right?
if they were going to get Bojan, it was going to be.
That was the other incentive for this team to get better was to improve the standing of that swap, right? To make sure the Lakers don't got a pathway to pass them up in the standings, which is up in the air right now. We don't know what's up with Big Z. That timeline is shifted. We don't know what's going to go on there. And now it's like, okay, we kind of stood pat while this team whose assets you control got better. And so it's just, I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow, despite the fact that we can rationalize this move in a vacuum. We can find the reasons for it. It just it's tough.
It's just for me. If I'm Griff or if I'm Trajan, and I look at that bench, and I see one guy who's missed like 40 games, and another guy who's probably going to miss about 40, I say, I think my pick is going to be all right. Like that. That's why, because if you move this pick and it becomes an unprotected second, then the Pelicans, the Lakers have even more ammunition to get even better. So I think I would rather keep the swap at this point. Once you lost those 10 games in a row, I thought it was over for that pick, because now everything's up in the air.
They thought that way too.
Yeah, everything's up in the air. You could potentially not make the playoffs. And if you're not making the playoffs and the Lakers probably, who knows, because they are injury away too. I just think once you lost those 10 games, once Brandon got hurt and then Zion got hurt, I think that pick kind of it tanked right there. That I still think this offseason, again, if you would have overpaid, I don't even want to use the term overpay. If you would have paid market value for a guy like OG or some of the other guys, I just don't see it really moving the needle for you enough to justify things when Kevin Durant is here. That's the only thing with me.
I'm going to ask, was Shamit, you may know this, was Mikal Bridges even possible?
They called on him first thing last night, and Brooklyn told him, we don't want to trade him. Clearly, Brooklyn didn't trade him, right? Yeah. And I heard like Brooklyn got all kinds of wild offers from different teams for Mikal. I think because of how long he's under contract, they have no rush. Like he's not like OG where OG can opt out after next year. Mikal's got, I think, 3 years after this. So it's one of those things where that value is just not diminishing. They could trade him at any point in the next like 18 months and probably get the same kind of haul.
Yeah, that would have been the only other player. I mean, whatever OG's offer was, I would have gave that to Mikal. Like, probably even more, because it actually makes sense. He's under contract. It's a better value. He's a better player.
Man, Fred VanVleet didn't even move. That's crazy. I just thought about that.
Oh my gosh. I don't even get me on Toronto, man. None of those players like playing there right now. They all hate Nick Nurse. Nobody likes Nick Nurse. Half of them expected to move. And now either they're like, you know what? We'll be buyers. We're going to spend a pick and get Jakob Poeltl. And they're 5 games under 500 right now. So,
and then the East got easier, right?
Yeah.
Like the East got considerably easier at this point. So like there's a path for them to make the playoffs.
We're gonna wrap it up here. Thank y'all for joining. But we're banking on health. If they're healthy, right, Jared? If they're healthy, they're good. But they're never healthy.
Man, Dr. Sebi is not walking through that door. Yeah, probably have no idea.
What the hell? I think if they're healthy, they really solid, really solid team. Maybe.
Can they get healthy or no?
Can they get healthy, bro? How long have we been watching this team? Since
a long time.
Let's go back to the playoff series, where Chris Paul and them lost to San Antonio Game 7. After that, what have they had a single season where their starters have stayed healthy? Was that since 2009?
Yeah,
Gennaro Pargo corner 3. I'll never forget it.
So it's CP got hurt, David West got hurt, Tyson was always hurt. Okay, you're moving into the AD era. It starts right off with Eric Gordon missing all that time. AD missed time throughout that era. Drew Holiday missed time throughout that era. Ryan Anderson, Tyreek, all of them missed time. All right, we're transitioning off that. All right, let's enter the Zion era. Cool, here we are. They've never been healthy, so can they get healthy?
Is it the water?
I'm waiting.
Water's not even good here anyways. Are you ready for the biggest Sunday in sports? DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner for Super Bowl 57. With all the Super Bowl action you need, new customers can bet just $5, get 200 in bonus bets instantly by using code BOOT. Once again, new customers can bet $5 on Super Bowl 57 and get 200 in bonus bets instantly. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code BOOT. Josh Richardson to the Pelicans. No one else has been moved. Bojan stays. Fred VanVleet, all the Raptors stay. It's going to be kind of crazy. All-Star break coming up. 3 more games left. We will be here for a recap, hopefully on Friday. And that's it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Love to hear y'all's thoughts on Josh Richardson. See y'all later.